and we will not be bullied.
Well, there is no plan. The president doesn't account for what he said before this State of the Nation address. In the previous Nation of Address was Tintswalo, the other one was Thuma Mina. There is no accountability, none whatsoever. He uses this platform to just come and waffle. He says he's going to create jobs, but he doesn't tell us where and how. He says infrastructure is going to be developed. So much money has been put aside. Where and how? So there's no plan. It's just utterances that he just makes passing time, and then knowing very well that he will not be challenged by those he's governing with.
EFF leader Julius Malema has responded to President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation Address 2025, and his message is clear. There is no real plan. Malema says Ramaphosa keeps making promises but never follows through. Is he right? Let's break it down. Welcome to Inkari. It's time where we speak the truth and unpack the biggest issues affecting South Africa. Today we are looking at Julius Malema's reaction to Sona 2025. He says President Cyril Ramaphosa is not accountable and that every year we hear big words but see no real change. But is Malema telling the truth, or is he just playing politics? Let's find out. What Julius Malema said. Malema says Ramaphosa keeps making new promises but doesn't explain why old promises were not kept. One year, it was Thuma Mina. Another year, it was Tintswalo. But where are the results? According to Malema, South Africans are struggling and the government is not fixing the real problems. Julius Malema is not alone. Other political parties also say President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation Address 2025 is just words with no real action, no accountability, no clear plan, just more promises South Africans have heard before, says Action SA through its president, Herman Mashaba. So, is the criticism fair?
We've just had 1.5 hours of the president giving us what he calls the State of the Nation address. But I think if one listened precisely at what the president was saying, was more of a celebratory speech, a speech that should obviously be delivered by someone who does not actually relate to the living experience of South Africans, where our people face massive challenges in terms of crime, open borders, the criminal, international crime syndicates, drug dealers and so forth. These are issues that the president never addresses. Level of corruption. We've just come out of spending over R1 billion in state capture. We've never, up to today, seen a single high-profile person being prosecuted. The president failed to address those issues.
You know, it was vintage Ramaphosa, because he speaks as if he's an invigilator of a government in action. He's not the invigilator, he's the president. He should take responsibility. He spoke about having to grow the economy at 3%. Now you can ask any matriculant, they'll tell you that minimum 3%. But our economy limps at below 1%. He didn't tell us how we're going to address the needs of 12 million unemployed South Africans looking for work every single day. This is a president who is out of touch with reality. He's more like a diplomat than a president. And I'm concerned that he can stand up in Parliament and tell us that they've recovered 10 billion rand from state capture theft, but nobody has been prosecuted. He must think we are silly. And the people in this country have learnt that they have power. They've taken the majority away from the ANC, and local government is looming where the ANC is at its worst. He even identified that local government has collapsed because of poor capacity, because of cadre deployment. The people will take power away from the ANC totally in 2026.
Other opposition parties also slammed Sona 2025. They say Ramaphosa's speech was full of fancy words but lacked real solutions. Issues like unemployment, load shedding, crime and corruption remain unsolved. The DA, IFP and even smaller parties all agree this speech gave no clear plan for real change.
You look at the plan that is put forward in relation to investing 940 billion rand over the next 3 years towards infrastructure. Do you not think that will take us out of the low growth levels?
He has spoken about giving the disaster there in KZN 1 billion. Those houses are still not built. He has spoken about building 1 million houses in Alexander. Those houses are not built. So whatever 900 million is talking about, you must know that he's just passing time. He's not the man who follows through what he committed during the State of the Nation address.
The Transformation Fund is promising for the next 5 years, every year they will set aside about 20 billion rand.
He's still saying we're going to make sure that we develop the guidelines to make sure that it is not subjected to red tapes and all manner of things. Monies have been committed before. I mean, we're still talking about water today. We spoke about water during the Guyana project. When he became the president, one of the things we said to him was the completion of the Guyana project. Till today, the project has not been implemented. Very good at putting figures, throwing numbers. Even during COVID, he was every speech putting numbers. But we have never seen any legacy of those billions that he spoke about even during COVID.
If you look at the pronouncements around the finalization of the industrial policy, as well as making the mining rights application transparent, it's something that the AFF has been actually, it's close to your heart, if I can put it that way. Are you happy that perhaps maybe he's starting to navigate himself towards your thinking as a party?
He needs to give people permits so that they can mine in this country and stop this bureaucracy and corruption that is in the mineral department. We must make sure our people have got the rights, the permission to mine. And we must formalize the so-called illegal miners, especially where there is potential and the land is safe. We want beneficiation to happen here in South Africa. He speaks about beneficiation all the time, he gets bored. But we have not done anything about beneficiation. We will never create jobs if we don't beneficiate in South Africa and if we don't industrialize. As things are now, we're deindustrializing the South African economy and at the same time talk about creation of jobs. So you can be guaranteed there is no concrete plan on creating jobs in South Africa. Concrete plan. He says we must come and work closer to where we work. But what has he done about Alexander, which he has committed to help? He's just talking. He's not going to bring anyone closer to where they work, because the people who own the land closer to where we work is white people. He's not going to expropriate that land. He's just baffling about it.
The facts. Are they right? In Sona 2024, Ramaphosa promised to fix load shedding, create jobs, and deal with corruption. A year later, load shedding continues. Unemployment remains high, and corruption cases take too long to be resolved. This raises the question, where is the progress? No accountability. The biggest complaint from opposition parties is that the president does not answer for past promises. Every year, there are new commitments, but no report on what happened to the old ones. So, is Sona 2025 really about progress or just another speech? Is Malema right? Some people say Malema is just attacking the ANC because he is in the opposition anyway. But others believe he is speaking the truth. The question is, why does the government keep making promises if they don't have a clear plan? Julius Malema and other political parties are saying what many South Africans feel. Ramaphosa's Sona 2025 was all talk, no action. When we look at the facts, it's hard to disagree. South Africa needs real solutions, not just speeches. But what do you think? Are opposition parties right? Or is Cyril Ramaphosa's plan just misunderstood?
Yes, I think a very strong one. This is it's not about the camouflage in itself. It's about the attitude that we should be having as a nation. You would have seen that our struggle is not over. Our land is still controlled by people that are sitting in America. Our people are still languishing in poverty, no homes, no jobs. So we can't sit in suits and relax and think we are Western, everything is in order. It is not. And it's time that we get our boots on, we go back to the trenches and fight for the liberation of this country from Western forces, from the shackles of poverty. From our young people need to understand what their country offers for them as black young people, colored, white, whatever, as long as they identify as Africans. We need to redefine our South Africa for ourselves.
All right. Some people might say the last party to have some kind of uniformed attire was the EFF. Is this a leaf from the EFF's books?
Look, if good things are there, you copy, it's not a problem. But as I said, this is about an identity, this is about an attitude, this is about the kind of mindset that we ought to be having. Sometimes when you're like yourself in a suit and tie, you think you have arrived, and you have not. But look, from the EFF, take off our heads for them for what they've done for their party, well organized, etc. MK party has its own path, and we will do what we need to do today. And we can't wait to hear from the president, who we hope has the balls now to take South Africa out of the mess that it is in. And the real state of the nation, as our chief whip has said, it will be on the 11th of February. But today we're expecting to see, and we are hoping that we'll see a leader, a commander who takes charge of the country. But I won't bet my last penny on it.
Were you happy, satisfied with what the president had to say today about the agriculture?
Yeah, certainly. I think there's a huge opportunity for agriculture in South Africa to be an engine room of job creation and economic growth. What I was a bit disappointed with this evening was the lack of urgency on some of the things. We need the Cape Town port, for instance, to be concessioned and working. 50% of our agricultural products go out from the Cape Town port, and it is languishing in the high 300s in terms of the international port index. It's not good enough. The horticultural, the citrus, and other farmers have said to me they could quadruple production over the medium term, and if they had a reliable and guaranteed path of access for their products to international markets with efficient ports. So I would like to see some more firm timeframes on that and a bit more urgency on that, because it's one of the key constraints on the agri sector.
What's your take? Do you agree with Julius Malema and the other political parties? Or do you think Ramaphosa is on the right path? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Inkari. It's time. Let's stay informed and keep holding our leaders accountable. Thank you for watching and take care.